Welcome to Blink Read Book Summary Channel. Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice is a book written by Deborah Adele that explores the ethical practices of yoga. In this book, Adele introduces the Yamas and Niyamas, which are the 10 ethical guidelines of yoga that provide a framework for leading a meaningful and purposeful life. The first part of the book focuses on the Yamas, which are the ethical guidelines related to our relationship with the external world. They include ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, continence, and aparigraya, non-possessiveness. Adele explains how following these guidelines can help us develop a sense of compassion, honesty, and contentment in our lives. In the second part of the book, Adele discusses the Niyamas, which are the ethical guidelines related to our relationship with ourselves. They include shauch, cleanliness, santosha, contentment, tapas, self-discipline, svadhyaya, self-study, and ishvara pranidhana, surrender to a higher power. Following these guidelines can help us cultivate a sense of inner peace, self-awareness, and spiritual connection. Overall, Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice provides a practical and accessible guide for incorporating yoga's ethical principles into our daily lives. By following these guidelines, we can lead a more purposeful and fulfilling life, and contribute to creating a more compassionate and peaceful world. Chapter 1, The First Limb: Ahimsa, Nonviolence in Thought, Word, and Deed. The practice of yoga goes beyond the physical poses and stretches that many people associate with it. One of the foundational principles of yoga is the practice of yamas and niyamas, which are ethical and moral guidelines for living a virtuous life. The first limb of yamas is ahimsa, which means nonviolence in thought, word, and deed. Ahimsa is a concept that goes beyond simply avoiding physical violence. It is about cultivating compassion and respect for all living beings, including ourselves. This requires us to be mindful of our thoughts and words, and to avoid causing harm through our actions. In the practice of ahimsa, we must start with ourselves. We must learn to be kind and compassionate to ourselves, and to avoid negative self-talk and self-destructive behavior. This can be a challenging practice, as many of us are conditioned to be critical and judgmental of ourselves. From there, we can extend our practice of ahimsa to others. This means treating all living beings with kindness and respect, regardless of their race, religion, or social status. It means avoiding harmful words and actions towards others, and instead seeking to understand and connect with them. Practicing ahimsa also means being mindful of the impact of our actions on the world around us. This includes being mindful of our consumption habits, and avoiding activities that harm the environment or contribute to social injustice. In summary, ahimsa is about cultivating a deep sense of compassion and respect for all living beings, and seeking to live in a way that minimizes harm and maximizes positive impact. It is a challenging practice that requires us to be mindful and intentional in all aspects of our lives. Part 2 of Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice delves into the second limb of yamas, which is satya or truthfulness. Satya is about being honest in our thoughts, words, and actions. It requires us to be authentic and truthful in our relationships with others, as well as with ourselves. However, satya does not mean that we should always speak the truth, even if it might cause harm or be hurtful to others. Rather, it is about finding a balance between being truthful and being kind. It means considering the impact of our words and being mindful of how they might be received by others. Satya also requires us to be truthful to ourselves. This means being honest about our own strengths and weaknesses, and acknowledging when we have made mistakes. It means avoiding self-deception and being willing to face the truth, even if it is uncomfortable or difficult to do so. Practicing satya can be challenging, as it requires us to be honest and vulnerable. It can be tempting to hide behind lies or half-truths in order to protect ourselves, but this only leads to further harm and disconnection. In summary, satya is about being truthful and authentic in our thoughts, words, and actions, while also being mindful of the impact of our words on others. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and to avoid self-deception. By practicing satya, we can cultivate deeper connections with others and live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Part 3 of Yamas and Niyamas, exploring yoga's ethical practice, focuses on the third limb of Yamas, which is asteya or non-stealing. Asteya is about refraining from taking what does not belong to us. This can be interpreted not only in terms of physical possessions but also in terms of time, attention, and energy. It requires us to be mindful of the impact our actions have on others and to avoid taking advantage of them for our own benefit. Asteya also includes being content with what we have and avoiding greed or envy. It means recognizing that we have enough and that we do not need to constantly strive for more at the expense of others. Practicing asteya can be challenging, as we live in a society that often encourages us to pursue more material possessions and to prioritize our own interests over others. However, by practicing asteya, we can cultivate a sense of gratitude and contentment, and build deeper connections with those around us. In summary, asteya is about refraining from taking what does not belong to us, and being content with what we have. It requires us to be mindful of the impact our actions have on others and to avoid taking advantage of them for our own benefit. By practicing asteya, we can cultivate a sense of gratitude and contentment, and build deeper connections with those around us. Part 4 of Yamas and Niyamas, exploring yoga's ethical practice, focuses on the fourth limb of Yamas, which is brahmacharya or right use of energy. Brahmacharya is often associated with celibacy or sexual restraint, but its broader meaning is about using our energy in a way that aligns with our values and spiritual goals. It involves using our physical, emotional, and mental energy in a way that promotes balance, health, and well-being. Practicing brahmacharya requires us to be mindful of how we use our energy and to avoid wasting it on activities or thoughts that do not serve our highest good. It means cultivating self-control and avoiding excess in all aspects of life, including food, sleep, and entertainment. Brahmacharya can be a challenging practice in a society that often encourages us to indulge in excess and prioritize pleasure over health and well-being. However, by practicing brahmacharya, we can cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness and inner peace, and ultimately align our energy with our higher purpose. In summary, brahmacharya is about using our energy in a way that aligns with our values and spiritual goals. It involves cultivating self-control and avoiding excess in all aspects of life. By practicing brahmacharya, we can cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness and inner peace, and ultimately align our energy with our higher purpose. Part 5 of Yamas and Niyamas, exploring yoga's ethical practice, focuses on the fifth limb of Yamas, which is aparigraya or non-greed. Aparigraya is about letting go of our attachment to material possessions and recognizing that true abundance comes from within. It involves being content with what we have and not constantly seeking more. Practicing aparigraya requires us to cultivate a sense of detachment from material possessions and to avoid clinging to things that do not serve our highest good. It involves recognizing that material possessions are temporary and do not define our worth or happiness. Aparigraya can be a challenging practice in a society that often equates success with material wealth and possessions. However, by practicing aparigraya, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment, and ultimately align our lives with our higher purpose. In summary, aparigraya is about letting go of our attachment to material possessions and recognizing that true abundance comes from within. It involves cultivating a sense of detachment from material possessions and recognizing that they do not define our worth or happiness. By practicing aparigraya, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment, and ultimately align our lives with our higher purpose. Part 6 of Yamas and Niyamas, exploring yoga's ethical practice, focuses on the second limb of Niyamas, which is santosha or contentment. Santosha is about finding contentment and happiness in the present moment, rather than constantly seeking happiness in external circumstances. It involves accepting things as they are, rather than always wanting things to be different. Practicing santosha requires us to cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what we have in our lives. It involves recognizing that true happiness comes from within and that external circumstances can never truly bring lasting happiness. Santosha can be a challenging practice in a society that often equates happiness with external success and material possessions. However, by practicing Santosha, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment, and ultimately align our lives with our higher purpose. In summary, Santosha is about finding contentment and happiness in the present moment, rather than constantly seeking happiness in external circumstances. It involves cultivating a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what we have in our lives and recognizing that true happiness comes from within. By practicing Santosha, we can cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment, and ultimately align our lives with our higher purpose. Part 7 of Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice explores the third limb of Niyamas, which is tapas or discipline. Tapas is about cultivating the inner strength and willpower to overcome obstacles and challenges in life. It involves a commitment to self-discipline, self-control, and perseverance. Practicing tapas requires us to cultivate a strong sense of determination and focus on our goals. It involves pushing ourselves beyond our limits and embracing discomfort and difficulty as opportunities for growth and transformation. Tapas can be challenging because it requires us to step outside of our comfort zones and confront our fears and limitations. However, by practicing tapas, we can develop the inner strength and resilience needed to overcome challenges and achieve our goals. In summary, tapas is about cultivating the inner strength and willpower to overcome obstacles and challenges in life. It involves a commitment to self-discipline, self-control, and perseverance. By practicing tapas, we can develop the inner strength and resilience needed to overcome challenges and achieve our goals. Part 8 of Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice explores the fourth limb of Niyamas, which is svadhyaya or self-study. Svadhyaya is about cultivating self-awareness and self-knowledge through the study of sacred texts, introspection, and reflection. It involves an ongoing inquiry into the nature of the self and the world around us. Practicing svadhyaya requires us to cultivate a sense of curiosity and openness to new ideas and perspectives. It involves studying sacred texts such as the Yoga Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, and other spiritual texts to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Svadhyaya also involves introspection and self-reflection. By taking the time to reflect on our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Practicing svadhyaya can be challenging because it requires us to confront our fears, doubts, and insecurities. However, by cultivating self-awareness and self-knowledge through svadhyaya, we can develop a greater sense of inner peace, clarity, and purpose in life. In summary, svadhyaya is about cultivating self-awareness and self-knowledge through the study of sacred texts, introspection, and reflection. By practicing svadhyaya, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world, and develop a greater sense of inner peace, clarity, and purpose in life. Part 9 of Yamas and Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice by Deborah Adele is titled Surrender, Is It a Choice? In this section, Adele discusses the concept of surrender and its relationship to choice. She begins by explaining that surrender is not a passive act, but rather an active one that requires trust and courage. Adele goes on to explore how surrendering can allow us to release our attachment to control and create space for growth and transformation. Adele also examines the role of choice in surrendering. She argues that even though surrendering may seem like a loss of control, it is actually a conscious choice we make. She explains that choosing to surrender allows us to step out of our ego-driven need for control and instead embrace the flow of life. By doing so, we can find peace and fulfillment in the present moment. Throughout the chapter, Adele provides practical advice on how to cultivate surrender in our daily lives. She suggests that we start by becoming aware of our attachment to control and then intentionally letting go of it. Adele also encourages us to trust in the unknown and have faith that the universe has a plan for us. Overall, Part 9 of Yamas and Niyamas offers a compelling argument for the benefits of surrender and provides practical tools for incorporating surrender into our daily lives. By embracing surrender as a conscious choice, we can let go of our need for control and find peace in the present moment. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our summary of the book. We hope that our insights and explanations have helped you gain a deeper understanding of the book's concepts and teachings. Remember to always apply what you have learned in your daily life and continue to grow and learn. Again, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you again soon.